Hello everybody. Today we're going to look at breaking down specification and quantification in EHCP. We talk about specification and quantification a lot, but what do we actually mean by that and what does that look like in EHCP is a good question. Now, one of the things you're going to find, especially with what's currently going on and the impending changes and tribunals trying to make sure that EHCPs aren't really long and complaining that they need to be succulent, as they keep calling them, is specification and quantification seems to be one of the very things that is being chipped away, chiselled away, if you want to so to speak. And they say that's because they are trying to make sure that they are accessible, usable, not too complicated, and people know exactly what they're supposed to be delivering. But as we're going to speak about now, there is a really important point on why we need to make sure that EHC plans are specified and quantified. So when it comes to provision in the EHCP, it must, where possible, and we always say where possible because not every single provision is quantifiable and specifiable in certain contexts. So there's going to be provision that's you're not able to do with, but whatever provision you are, it is possible to do it with. We must do it. So we must state exactly who will provide the provision to the child or young person, what training and experience they need, how long the person will last, how often the provision, how long will the provision last, how often the provision will be, and if it will be delivered one-to-one, small groups, stating the size of the group, or within the whole class. So if we don't, for example, we need to know if this person is going to be a teaching assistant, a Senko, an ELSA, the class teacher, and we meet, and there is an important reason why we need to specify that, and it's because if we don't say that, it could be the janitor, it could be the receptionist, it could be the dinner lady. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these people, however, they've not been trained in providing the provisions that are within an EHCP. So it's really, really important that we specify it so the right people are delivering the provision, the child's actually getting the provision for the length of time that's needed for it to make the biggest impact and actually provide the right level of support that they need, how often this provision needs to go on for, whether it's be delivered in one-to-one or small groups or within the whole class. If they do say small groups, it needs to state how big that small group is, and that is all about the capability of the child to be able to take in whatever's happening within that one-to-one small group setting, how many people they can cope being around, etc. So it's making sure that the provision works for the child or young person to provide the right support at the right time for the right length of time by the right person. So why is it so important to ensure that provision is specified and quantified? I have just covered a little bit of this. So if the provision is near clear set out, it's not clear set out, precise and measurable, then it can be difficult for education staff to know exactly what they should be doing. Also at times, this then also means that the provision does not get delivered at all. So when it comes to it, if we are not making sure that it's clearly set out, it's precise and measurable, there are going to be provisions that aren't delivered. They're just not going to get delivered. And the whole point of it's going to be, well, in your EHCP it says they have access to that provision. Yes, they're not actually doing the provision, but they'll say then the child's choosing not to do the provision, or it was up to the child to go and get the provision. That all isn't good enough. It means that children are being denied or not having provision that they so need. Sometimes as well, when it's written and it's woolly and it's word salad and it's it's not exactly clear what's being asked of that person who's providing the provision. So we also make sure that it is clear and everybody understands what's expected to be delivered. So why do LAs in school try to push woolly provision? So if you've all seen my other webinar on woolly wording, you'll understand what I mean by that. And that basically means when provision's not specified or quantified and woolly words are used in order to make provision so woolly that it's not It's, you know, they can get away with not providing it. The stuff like so and so's benefits from. Yeah, they benefit from, but if you're not saying they're gonna, you know, they must have that or they will have that provision, doesn't mean we have to deliver it then. You're saying the benefit from it. Yeah, they're doing good. It'll do most children good. However, what are we actually doing to provide it? We're not providing it because it says benefit from, therefore we legally don't have to provide it because the wording is not clear enough. And the reason why local authorities and schools do this is it means it can get away with not providing some provision, in particular if this is costly provision. And the whole point of this is, if it's a costly provision, then they get away with doing what they want, or not providing it, and then they save money. And that means then they don't have to find as much funding to support the child going forward. Because ultimately, when we talk about any of this, all of it comes down to money.